Hi everybody, Matt Lawton here. This is the Astrological Winds channel, and this is going to be the Astrological Weather Report for the week of November 15th through 21st. And I'm going with a screenshot again of a chart, and that is the chart of this week's lunar eclipse, full moon in Taurus. We've reached our second eclipse season. So there's a real lot of stuff going on this week. So I want to get into this right away. There's a lot of things to cover. But in general, just get this note right away. The cliff note is this is a very positive week to make changes. And like there's a lot of energy that that if you are accepting change into your life, can really bring a lot of expansion and personal growth. So this is a week where you can really push that on all different levels, and the pushing will blend with the energy of this week and probably bring some really positive results. But that is also the willingness to accept changes and let go of a lot of the things that you may or may not be aware that are holding you back. And maybe the lunar eclipse and full moon will help you see that. But a lot of positive things. So let me go through this and try to get this done in a half hour, hopefully. So the first thing I want you guys to notice is, like, and you can see it in the chart, the Sun and Mercury are really close together here. And if you remember, Mercury went direct a few weeks ago and now has been back charged through Libra, is in Scorpio, and is speeding up. It's getting faster and faster and faster moving forward. So it's catching up to the Sun, and next week they will actually have their superior conjunction. But the point I want to make with all that is that, so whatever the Sun aspects are going to be this week, and Mercury a few days later is going to follow them. And so the first thing is right away on Monday, you guys, there's a Sun square Jupiter today, and that's followed on Tuesday by a Sun sextile Pluto, which is also part of the full moon makeup. But in general, you know, and that so those two are going to square and sextile on Monday, Tuesday, and then because Mercury is close behind the Sun on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, Mercury will then square Jupiter and sextile Pluto. So basically, the two of them together are going to make these four aspects that will be in effect all week, are also tied into the full moon. And so what is, you know, the thing about this to understand is it gets the energy off to a very positive start. Like Jupiter brings in positive energy. So when it's squaring Mercury and the Sun, it really is going to expand our vision, and it's going to get us into a like really future thinking kind of modality in our mind where we're seeing the big picture, you know. And because of that, the Pluto will also come in, and as you see the big picture, you know, you may get opportunities to start laying down the tracks, so to speak, on the road of your life. You know, basically start filling in the minute details of that Jupiter, Sun, Mercury energy with the Pluto energy. The Pluto energy, and even with the Sun in Scorpio right now, which is part of the full moon makeup, is that, you know, it just gives us the mind, the ability to see the minute details and get into this very investigative, researching deep into, you know, getting to the bottom of things, and then being able to tighten that Jupiter energy up with a plan. You know, to, you know, normally without that grounding, Jupiter can, you know, think really big, but it doesn't necessarily get the work done, or it doesn't do the details well. So you know, bringing in that's the Scorpio energy and the Mercury energy and the Pluto energy will really have the Jupiter get reined in and the ability not just to think of what those details are, but to be very exacting on how to handle what you need to handle to do those things. So it really gives an ingenious, precise mind, like I said, it gets those tires on the tracks. It's all about precision, and then you take in, with all that energy. What I can say is it's a great time to take a risk, to take a chance, to push ahead, to get yourself out of your comfort zone, and to have like a positive attitude about that, about the ideas and the things that, the resources will come to you in a creative loop. If number one, you have to take the chance and do the jump, or you're never gonna know. And then having that positive attitude instead of one of trying to hold on, but wanting to allow changes into your life, new plans into your life, new ideas into your life. All these things, can bring positive situations, new business situations, but just a great time to really have some power and control of the direction of your life right now, and your mind is just like a laser where it can cut through all the stuff and get thorough work done with what needs to be done in those situations. And to top it all off too, with the Pluto energy too, it's also showing a really good time with connecting with groups and others as part of it too. That you could get some very long-term beneficial effects. So this is a very positive way, and it's imprinted in the whole week, because like I said, on today, Monday, Tuesday, the sun hits the exacts, and then on the weekend, Mercury hits the exacts. So just a great time for that. Now, if you'll remember too, we had last week, we had the Mercury and Mars with that conjunction in Scorpio, and they got into that whole big T-square and Yod with Saturn and Uranus in the T-square, and then the Yod was between Chiron and Ceres. So if you remember, like I said, the exact, Mercury started to move ahead of Mars too. So on Wednesday, the final piece of that puzzle locks in, which will continue. Like I said last week, that energy was going to continue into this week too. So the final piece of that puzzle locks in on Wednesday when Mars does its exact opposition to Uranus. And this is, usually this is just bursts of chaotic, changing type of energy that can strike out quick at people, and when on a personal level can have us strike out quick at people, especially people that we consider like an enemy or someone that we're in some kind of tussle with, where we feel like they're kind of blocking our energy, so to speak. So there's a lot of impulsive energy wrapped up in this, and a lot of rebellious energy wrapped up in this. So there's can be a lot of surprising events again, events that may be triggered by the individual lone wolf rebellion, or just groups of people that are angry. You can see that kind of playing out in the political landscape these days. So there's just a lot of tension, and that brings a lot of sporadic release that's very disruptive and can disrupt your life, can end up bringing in changes very rapidly. Also on a bigger scale, once again, can relate to natural disasters, can relate to man-made disasters that have a sudden effect and change on many people, or an area that's very disruptive. But it's an energy, that disrupts your life and changes it up, and our reactions can range from trying to hold on to to being very rebellious, to acting out suddenly, to allowing creative change in. And that's really the positive part of this. This energy can work well with what I was just talking about, the allowing other change in, and the rest of this week too, because with this energy, we, these disruptions can bring in something new, something creative into your life. But you first have to shake loose that Saturn, that past, in order to allow that in. So you have to take up the attitude, that change is not going to be scary and fearful and stuff, but is going to lead you out of your past restrictions and into someplace exciting and new. And what's interesting about this too, if you remember in the monthly of October, I said one of the things that was going on this month, and it's exact this week, we go back to Jupiter again, is semi-square Chiron right now. Jupiter right here, semi-square Chiron. And it's also sextile Eris. So once again, what did I say at the beginning of the month? An opportunity to bring in positive, creative energy into our lives so that we can start to change our belief systems and our value systems, the things that may actually be holding us back a little bit right now from being able to allow that in. But it even gets better this week, though. It continues. It gets better. On Thursday and Friday, two beautiful trines can work together on Thursday and Friday. Mercury is going to trine Neptune, and at the same time, Venus is going to trine Uranus. And, what a time where we can actually have our ideals come out with new experiences with others so that we can allow positive changes in. Once again, it's like Mercury with Neptune, there's going to be like our imagination and inspiration is going to be triggered somehow in this flowing, nice way. It's a trine, and it's most likely from new connections that we make with others, new experiences that we have, new places, new ideas that fit into our life now and stimulate us to go out and make something better for ourselves, make our life better, make our world better around us. So this, can be really, really great too for artistic output. I mean, the Mercury Neptune will give the imagination and inspiration, and the Venus Uranus will give the energy. They just put something out, and it could be something different, something new and groundbreaking for you. So this is really just a great new chance to, output, and just having also just things like mind-blowing conversations with others, deep, intimate connections that stimulate your mind, things kind of where you life just takes on a really exciting quality because of the ideas, the situations that you're in with new people, new places, and it's stimulating your idealism. So it just works. These two trines just work so well together. And once again, what is it doing? It's fitting in with the theme of the rest of the week, that this is a great week to bring in change, to bring in creative change and allow it to come into our lives. So then we get to that full moon lunar eclipse. So here it is right on the screen in front of us, set for Washington, D.C. here. But, the point is, here's the sun at 2714 Scorpio, opposite the moon at 2714 Taurus. And they are in a T-square with Jupiter that we were talking about, and in a trine with the moon's in the trine with Pluto, and the sun sextiling that Pluto. So once again, just amazing opportunity. First of all, the moon is at the 28th degree, which is right near the end of the sign. So it's showing once again there are some big changes coming in that, we have to graduate with, or we're going to kind of be left behind and struggling to figure out why our old ways aren't working. So with the moon in Taurus and the sun in Scorpio, that is the resource axis. So what's going on in the world right now? Resources are a big problem, right? So we're seeing it on the world stage, and obviously it affects people individually too. So this full moon is really going to shine a light on resource issues, our own resource issues, the world's resource issues. And at this critical degree, 28th degree, it's saying, the game's almost over with the way things are. But here's this square to Jupiter. It's got great new ideas in Aquarius about how things can change, how things can shift. Ideas we have for ourselves, ideas that we have for society. And there's that sextile and trine to Pluto. We're seeing it deeply now. We are seeing, and understanding how that energy is moving and directing our lives. So now we can get power over it, get a grip on it, try to start to transform it. But let's think about Moon in Taurus first. The Moon in Taurus is triggered when material security is not the way it normally is for us. So we're all facing that together. And I know for people who have a lot of Taurus energy, that's harder, and I understand that. But what, the moon in Taurus will do many times is sacrifice emotional depth and emotional satisfaction for material security. And right now, that's being shaken up. So it's it can be very triggering on that level. But, the sun in Scorpio is, having us wanting to look at this, to see the full moon is shining light on this resource issue, our own resource issues, on the things that are deep in our psyche and how we're attached to, the comforts and things that we need to have to feel secure. And the sun in Scorpio is asking us to look at that really deeply right now. And is it is it what we really, believe that it is, or is it go out beyond that? Is there something in there that can change and we can shift? And with that trine to Pluto, we're going to see it really deeply. We're going to want to have some kind of transformational change. We're going to see the emotions and feel the emotions and really connect deeply into our own psyche, our own feelings, our own energy, and be able to use that energy to transform our own attitude, our own life, our own relationships, our own communications, the way we use our mind, all this stuff. Right now it's asking, okay, can we release this? And remember, the eclipse, what is the eclipse saying? It's a time for change. Well, it's very interesting. Notice here, when an eclipse occurs, it's because the nodes get close to the sun and the moon. So here's your north node here, right at the end of Gemini, because the nodes move backwards all the time. So 1 degree Gemini, getting ready to go into Taurus for the next year and a half. So once again, what does that mean? It means the whole collective for the next year and a half is seriously going to have to look at the way resources are being used. And so this eclipse is giving us the opportunity. It's kind of like the prologue or chapter 1 of the opportunity of how are we going to deal with this? And the moon and the sun both hitting Pluto are allowing us to see how it affects us and allowing us to maybe get a glimpse of if we can let that stuff go, there can be some amazing changes that bring a lot of other kind of expansion, deeper stuff, Scorpio stuff, like depth in life, emotional satisfaction, things like that. So this eclipse, now remember, it's a lunar eclipse. And I've said this before, lunar eclipses are mainly things that come from within. You may not have any event occur whatsoever in your life that relates to this eclipse, but you may be having feelings, just the feelings of wanting to change some things in your life, having to do likely with resources, emotional depth, things like that, relationships, things like that. So You know, the eclipse, when it's a lunar eclipse, it starts from within like that. And depending on where your chart, how your chart is, and you got to look at the houses in your chart that, you know, Taurus and Scorpio, where at 28 degrees of Taurus and Scorpio are, and that will tell you the houses in your life that this eclipse you'll be feeling about wanting to make some changes. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes lunar eclipses do bring events that change our lives. Like eclipses, like I've said before, to me an eclipse is like you're walking down the streets of Manhattan in one direction, like say north-south, like on one of the avenues, and then you've been walking like that for like what, 40 blocks. It's like, you know, 40 years, whatever, 40 months, 40 weeks, 40 days, and an eclipse hits, and all of a sudden you make a right or left turn onto like one of the streets. So it's a whole new direction, is my point. And if an eclipse does bring an exterior event, then many times our lives do go in a whole new direction. But my point is, with the lunar eclipse, it's because something you were really, you know, focused on within actually may have like somehow help manifest some kind of event on the outside of your life, or brings in a person or a situation that represents that event, and it gets you, it shakes you up a bit, starts to make you want to really make some changes in your life. So, you know, once again, the fear lies within change, and in like how much we want to change from within can show us how much this eclipse will have an effect on us. But with this change in the nodes coming soon, all this other energy wrapped up in this eclipse, it is a great time, once again, to bring in some changes. Now think about this too. This eclipse is ruled by Venus. The moon in Taurus is really strong. It's exalted there. But it's like, you know, and Venus, you know, is the ruler of that moon, because so Venus is in Cap. So it's saying like right now, if we bring in some changes, it can really bring some long-term stability to like relationships, maybe finances, our creativity. Now what's interesting too is Venus is making 3 aspects right now too. Remember the trine to Uranus that I talked about, and then it's also sextiling Mars, and it's also squaring Chiron. And to me, it's once again, it's the same thing. The square to Chiron is saying we have to give up the old woundings that we're holding on to in relationships, about money, about resources, about our own creativity. That's what's blocking us, is our own wounding. And right now, what's happening is the sextile to Mars and the trine to Uranus is like giving us the opportunities to do that. Making connections with other people, making connections with our own creativity, making connections with new ideas that inspire us to act and move on this stuff. So it really is so potent right now, you guys, to, you know, grab this, whatever this is that is in your life that's like seemingly like some big change. And it may be a little scary because it's like challenging your ways of doing things, but it's also like exciting. You can feel like it could really lead to basically making your life more better, to making it more fulfilling, to making it more, to being more evolutionized, to being more creative, to being more connected, and to being more of like the solution to what's going on. That Jupiter in Aquarius, you know, Jupiter in Aquarius there, once again, Jupiter is bringing in that positive way of looking at the future and the visions that we have, and it's going to introduce us to new people, new cultures, new philosophies, new values, things like that. And if we are open to bringing them in, it promises expansion, it promises change, and Pluto promises transformation, and you will never want to go back to the way it was before that. But you have to let go of some of these things that are holding you back still. So this is just an amazing opportunity this week to bring in changes into your life. Now, what to top it all off, what do we have, 4 or 5 things all saying that right now? What happens on Sunday is the season of Sagittarius begins when the sun goes into Sagittarius. And what is Sagittarius? It's one of the signs ruled by Jupiter. Same thing. The season of coming out of the shadow, coming out of the darkness of the Scorpio. We've wrestled with our demons, both real and imagined. And now we start to see that there's some light at the end of the tunnel, that, that there's a solstice coming soon, and that the light will start to come back. And so that sun in Sagittarius sparks that desire to move forward, to bring ourselves to where the light is on the horizon, that new dawn, the new dawn. The sun's not quite up yet, but the new dawn. So let's rush out to meet it. Let's rush out to the horizon to meet it. That's what Sagittarius wants to do. Jump on the horse, get out there, jump on Pegasus, and get out there and have an adventure. Bring expansion into your life, bring new knowledge in, allow changes in. Be more tolerant. You want people to be tolerant of you, be tolerant of them, because we all have gifts for one another. And there's intimate personal gifts in there that lock into your vision personally, if you're going to allow them to come in and allow that creative change to come in. So it's going to bring in new visions, new growth, new energy, new wisdom, new culture, just expansion. So what a week, you guys. This is it, there's been a lot of heavy times, and I'm not saying that this isn't heavy too, to have to let go of these things and change our ways of looking at things, but just like the COVID changed a lot of things, this is just a continuing story. It's another effect of, seeing, maybe we don't have to spend our time doing this so much. Well, maybe we don't have to spend our time collecting these things so much, or maybe we need other things. Maybe there's deeper value in non-things, so a lot to think about. But this is like, it's only going to be painful if you don't want to give up the way it's been. And I don't know anyone who's emotionally happy with the way it's been. So if you want happiness, then you have to embrace some kind of change. And it's going to require giving up a lot of the ideas you've had, a lot of the things you've had, maybe some old relationships or whatever, and allowing in the new, the things that you're feeling, this person, this situation, this place, this idea, feels inside like it's the right thing for me, like it can bring me somewhere else. That's what this week's all about. So I would say get on board with that. Look at this stuff. Everything is wanting to help right now. Nature, the universe, and life responds to you when you allow the change in, and not only allow the change in, but have the attitude of wanting it to come in. All right, this is Matt Lawton. This is the Astrological Weather channel. It is on YouTube every week. Get yourself a YouTube account, become a follower, and turn on your notifications. There's really no reason to actually watch it on YouTube, and therefore it is also distributed out on all kinds of podcasts through Buzzsprout. So just look up the Astrological Winds channel on any of your favorite podcasts, and you should be able to find it. If you don't find it on one, just try another, because I know it's out there on 15 or 20 of them. It's a free service. I would really appreciate if you could please send the link to anybody you know who would be interested in it. It would be really that would be the best way you guys can pay me back. Otherwise, if you need a chart reading, or someone you know needs a chart reading, I've been doing charts professionally for 20 years. We have amazing experiences. So if you need to figure out how some of this stuff is working personally in your life, get a natal reading first, your birth chart. If you know that, get a predictive reading once a year. It's your own weather report just like this for the year, so you know the energy you're dealing with and the best ways that you can be self-empowered about having to deal with it. I also do relationship charts, election charts for the best timing, horary charts for questions, children's charts, fixed star charts if you want a deeper soul purpose reading. So all kinds of stuff like that, events, classes, lectures, all that stuff. Get me at my email, mattthue823@gmail.com. That's mattthue823@gmail.com. Also, you can look me up on Facebook, Matthew Lawton, Lauten. That's also my Venmo handle, Matthew-Lawton. Zelle too, if anyone wants to send a donation, you're welcome to. Email me if you want to talk about a reading or something else. We can talk about costs and expectations, things like that. And also, it's also on Instagram. Just look up Astrological Winds channel and become a follower. All right, you guys, great week ahead. The winds are in our favor. Get the sails out and get across that sea. See you next week.